Hey guys and gals, it's me, X, and with me I have my co-host Daryl Ebanks. How are you,
Yep,
Daryl?
I'm pretty good. Daryl in the house.
In the Hazel, we're back, and this is our second review of 2019. Today we're going to be reviewing Alita Battle Angel, based on the manga and anime of the same name. Did you get a chance to watch the movie?
Yeah,
Nice.
I did get a chance to watch it. I did not, however, watch the anime beforehand, so this was my first look into the world. And you?
Yeah, actually, I recommended you not watch the anime so we can have different points of view. I actually watched the anime before watching the movie. My experience of watching the movie was fun. It was my Valentine's kind of date with my wife.
Woo!
We went to the Alamo Draft House and we had the whole thing, with the food and the drinks, and the movie was. I liked the movie. I'm gonna say that outright, and it was a fun experience. The movie is really fun, and that's why I wanted you to not watch the anime, just watch the movie first, and then we can see how things affect, compare someone to watching the anime first and not. So let's go ahead. And what did you think of the movie? Did you like it or?
Yeah, so I pretty much liked it. I could say that I was very well entertained, but I should start by saying that it was probably better for me to watch it that way, because once I see an anime, especially, animes are very hard to adapt.
Yeah.
It's a very different aesthetic, the way they talk and act and do things, which we get it in anime, but it's hard to put that in human form, in live action form, or CG form, as this movie is
Heavily on CGI.
heavily. It's like basically completely CGI, right?
Especially the main character, Alita. She was 99.9%
Yeah.
CGI.
Yeah, I think Christoph Waltz was the only character that wasn't completely CGI.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But anyway, going back to the crux of it, is that I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. The CGI is top form, and I can't believe how much better we've gotten from the early days of CGI till now. It's a $200 million movie, and I think it's $200 million definitely spent. There are a lot of flaws with the movie. There's a myriad of flaws, but for the most part, I liked it. I love the world building, like that dystopian future. I guess it's kind of like steampunk.
Cyberpunk, actually.
Cyberpunk, yes. Cyberpunk, yes. I would love to be in that. It's one of my favorite worlds, automatically, that I've seen built through those aesthetics. So I do have my flaws. We could get into that soon, but I just want to hear your thoughts.
Well, yeah, since we're talking about CGI and how good it is, I think in 2019, if you're going to make a movie that's that heavily reliant on CGI, it has to be top-notch. Otherwise, it's going to downgrade the quality of the film. I think, if you're going to throw that much CGI at a movie and it's not that good, it's going to affect how people see the movie. So I think it's totally worth the $200 million they spend on the movie, because the CGI, like you said, is top notch. I still like Ready Player One CGI more, but it's not as they're different movies in a way, because in Ready Player One they will switch worlds to one that is all CGI. In this one they mix the real world with the CGI, and they did a really good job with it. But other than that, yeah, I actually had a lot of fun watching the movie. I did have my issues with the movie, especially since I watched the anime first. I was expecting to see some things, and I didn't. I never read the manga, and my understanding is that this movie is actually based more on the manga than the anime, and maybe that's the reasons why I was surprised at things that happened in the movie that I wasn't expecting to see. And maybe those are the issues that I have with the movie. Maybe I can't fault the movie for that. I don't know. I haven't looked that much into what the manga is about. I'm just comparing it to the anime. Maybe I shouldn't do that. But as a movie itself, it's a lot of fun. I gotta say that.
What did you think about the action pieces? Because I think that it's one of my favorite parts of it was, for the most part, the action sequences were on point.
Dude, I'm 35 years old, and I was really whoa, yeah, that's cool. I was like, oh shit, that's cool. Oh, I can only imagine what a 13-year-old would be like when they're watching that.
They're spoiled, basically.
Yeah, they got it good nowadays. Yeah, the action scenes, some of them were amazing. It's the this is something that I talked about when we one of our previous podcasts. I don't know which one it was. I think our most anticipated movies. Just by watching the trailer, I remember saying like there's some really good character design in the movie just by watching the trailer. And then when you see the movie, you can see they spend a lot of time designing the characters, and they look really cool. And the things they do in the movie, they're really awesome things. And when they start fighting each other, and the action scenes are awesome. They really, really are awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you. The design of this movie was awesome, but I think where my problems start coming in, if I could get into that now lightly, is with actual character development was shit in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like all the characters seem unreal to me and kind of I guess cold is the best word. I didn't like any of them. Even Alita, she's like badass, but like her just talking in some scenes, I'm like, yeah,
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And the boyfriend character, Hugo, yeah, like
Hugo.
Yeah, he just did a bunch of stupid things throughout the film, and some things just didn't make sense that I could get into in spoilers, but yeah, I think with that, and the second thing, Robert Rodriguez, who directed the movie, I think they played around with way too many plot points, and the story dragged. I think you could easily cut 30 minutes from the movie and craft the better ending.
Oh my God. So yeah, so I know you guys cannot see me, but I'm like nodding at everything you're saying because I feel the exact same way. So I'm gonna try to compare it to the anime. Some things. When I first watched the anime,
are we getting in spoilers?
No. It's just a general thing, thought that I have. When I watched the anime, I thought it was a good anime, but it's not one of the best. Right? It's very short. It's only 55 minutes. So they move really quickly, and they don't have a lot of time to develop the characters. With that being said, I got more of those characters in the anime than I did from this movie, and that was my biggest disappointment with this movie because I expected them to take what I watched in the anime and develop those characters a lot more, so we get a better movie. And they did the opposite. They introduced a lot of other things and subplots that in my opinion, which I've heard, like I said before, I've heard those come from the manga. And maybe that was their problem. They just throw too many things at it, and they just did not focus on the characters that much. And yeah, like you said, you don't care for some of them, not especially, but even the main character, Alita. She does some weird things, and the boyfriend. He does some stupid shit.
Oh my God, he says some of the corniest lines as well.
I like Christoph Waltz. He was a good character. Like he's a likable character in the movie, and he's a good actor to begin with.
Yeah.
So, I liked him in the movie a lot, and he's the most human person in the movie. I think not her. That's one of the lines. So, like you're one human.
That was the worst line in filmmaking history.
Yeah. No, even in the trailer when I saw that, I was like. Face palming. I was like, that sounds so ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, me and the friend that I went with, we both laughed when he said that line because that seems so stupid at that point to say it.
Yeah, it had no base. He had no base. Like there was no previous scene that made you want to think that. He just said it out of nowhere, and I don't know. It makes no sense.
Yeah, he was just trying to get some pussy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say things to get some pussy, right? Even if it's a robot.
Especially when you're that young. You're not, your game is not that developed. Just say corny shit. Another thing, like I said, the anime, 55 minutes, but there are some very impactful scenes in the anime that leave you thinking. Even up until today, I think about those scenes are very impactful scenes. And maybe that's because it's a rated R anime, and this movie's a PG-13, so they can't really show you a lot of, gore and things like that are very, shocking. There's a scene in this movie it's one of the main scenes in the anime, that leaves you holy crap. In this movie, when they recreate that scene, it was so, bland. So bland. I don't want to spoil it, but...
Let's get to it in spoilers.
Yeah, we'll get to it in spoilers. It was so bland. There was no emotion to it. There was nothing to it. And I knew it was coming, so I was like, how are they going to do this, And I think they failed at it. But Yeah, that's my overall like thinking of the movie. It's like it's good. I liked it. I like the action. I like the world they are, the cyberpunk aspect of it. They just fail at developing the characters, and the story is very convoluted, and I don't know.
So I think the reason for that is the last thing I guess we could say before going to spoilers. I hear the manga is 9 volumes and the movie went through 4 of them.
Right, I heard
So I
something
think,
similar.
yeah, so they were just forcing a bunch of the storylines and plots, just forcing it in there. But I wish they would just like strip it down to the bare bones, let us feel these characters on screen, and then it would have been a lot better. And I would say get rid of Motorball because
Yeah, this that does not.
the game didn't make that much sense and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most anime fans are gonna agree with me. Those who have watched the anime first. I mean, I wanted to see the anime plus the development of the characters that lacked in the anime, and they fail at that. And instead of that, they just introduced new characters that I've never heard of, and that sport that you talked about that's not in the anime either. That's not. It's you. I didn't even know that existed in this world, and it just to me a lot of things felt crowbarred in there. Again, I just gotta say this. I don't know, like that's gotta be part of the manga. So I guess for those manga fans, they got to see that, and that's great for you. But in my ideal world, the movie that I would have wanted to see from Alita, Battle Angel, will be the anime plus more development of the characters, and maybe try to make those impactful scenes from the anime come more to like be representing it on with the real world people in a better way than they did. I think they failed at it.
Yeah, so if I could ask, I did like that the movie felt like you were watching an anime, even though it was CGI, and I thought that was good about it. What do you think about how, since you've seen the anime, did it keep the essence of that at least, the heart of the anime?
It felt very like Americanized.
Whitewashed or
No, I wouldn't say that. I don't like using that term because if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. I don't, like meh. And even in the real Alita, well, not the real, but the manga and anime world, they never specified it to be a Japanese world setting or anything like that. So you can get away with that. This is like a futuristic imaginary world, so you're free to do anything you want with it, I guess. But it felt very Americanized, if I can say that. It had things that were very anime-like, especially the fight scenes and things like that. They felt very anime-like, and that was good.
I guess what I meant by it is if not just with how the people look and just putting white people in Asian roles. I'm talking in the sense of the way the characters acted.
No, I wouldn't say so. I would say they did an okay job transferring that anime feel to the big screen, to a real like a live action film, but it wasn't all there. It wasn't all there. But I liked the movie. Yeah. So.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean when you like. There's this feel when you watch anime that characters act a certain way and they express themselves in a certain way that you don't see that on live action movies. And maybe that's what's missing from this movie. Like I said, there's some scenes in the anime that leave you thinking. You're like, whoa, they did that, really? And in this movie that you'll probably never remember that unless I point it out to you or something like that. So, yeah, there's a lot of, and this is criticized of anime all the time, there's a lot of over-emotion overreaction from anime.
Which you just accept that mentally because it's an anime.
And when you don't see that in the big screen, it's probably because it's not the way that Hollywood films movies, we're not used to it, and maybe
it's not believable in the real world sense.
Exactly. So I'll kind of give him a pass on that. But I like how they changed the characteristics of specific characters, especially Yugo. Yugo in this live action movie sucks, and in the anime, it's not like he's a memorable character or anything like that. But he's so different from this Yugo that we got to watch in the real world. Alita is actually more believable, like more closer to the anime than Yugo. And I wish what's the name? I like Christoph Waltz, like I said, but
I like him in everything.
In the anime, like it's he's not that old, and I was surprised when he was cast as what was his name, Doctor I forget.
Dr. Ito.
Ito, yeah, there you go. So I was surprised. I was like, whoa, they're going that, like, he's an older gentleman.
In the anime, he's like a blonde guy, right?
Yeah, he's a blonde, and he's tall, like he's a warrior. He's a warrior, and like he acts like a warrior
in the anime.
In the anime, yeah.
So this was one of my big points, and the only thing from him that I didn't like was him with that big axe claw thing.
Right.
I was like, really? How are you going to just carry that around and swing that? It was too big for him.
Those are the things like you can get away with the anime, right? Because that's literally from the anime. He uses that, and it's anime, so you go, If you watch Final Fantasy, if you've ever played Final Fantasy, like Cloud uses this gigantic sword that no one could wield, but we just we just accept it because it's like
it's animated.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I actually like that they went with that same weapon. I mean, those are the things that they do for like fan service,
Yeah.
So I like that. But like I said, the casting of Christoph Waltz was weird in a sense because he's kind of old but I like what they did with him. He's a lovable doctor instead of being
the best actor in the movie.
Right, instead of being like this warrior, mysterious doctor that you get to see in the anime if you ever get a chance to watch it. But yeah, I will say so. My review for those who are not gonna listen to spoilers is, go watch it. I'm actually thinking about watching it again because I want to see it in 3D. I watch it in 2D, and I'm really curious to see what the movie's going to look like in 3D, especially with how good the CGI is.
I heard a review of someone who watched it, and he said he saw it in 3D, and apparently it's a good 3D movie. I personally don't like 3D.
Yeah, me too.
Which is why I watched it 2D at first, but I guess I will be interested in seeing it 3D.
Yeah, so, and it's a good movie to watch at the movie theater. So if you're thinking about watching it, I'll say go ahead. Up to you if you want to watch it in 2D or 3D. But while I was watching it, I could see that it's probably a really good movie to watch in 3D. So I might go watch a second time in 3D. Now, let's get to spoilers.
Yeah. So we're in spoilers now, and I'll just say this: the only one part that I want to talk about spoilers, honestly, is is this bitch crazy? Thought that I had, and I think I know what part of the movie I'm talking about, where she tries to she literally was stalking her boyfriend, or the boyfriend character in her room, Hugo, and he wakes up, he sees her, he's like, holy shit. Then people
laughed at when she just shows up in the window.
Yeah. And
he's just watching. He's just like laying there sleeping. She's just watching him.
And she's literally trying to give him her heart, which is
literally, guys, literally. She pulls it out and tries to give it to him.
And I'm like, this is the most human person you've ever met. Come on, Hugo.
All right. So. Again, like I said, Alita is very close. The way that she portrayed Alita is very close to what she's in the anime. In the anime, she's also almost like obsessed person with Cyber with Hugo. She's obsessed with him. So they do justice in that sense. But the thing that I did not like is Hugo in the anime is he never kind of cares for Alita. In the movie, from day one, he kind of like just immediately falls in love for her. In the anime, he doesn't care for her until the very end of the movie, when he realizes like, oh, this is one person that actually loves me, and I don't really need to go to the city in the sky. Like I could just live my life with her. But in the anime, throughout the entire anime, Yu is like, who is this? Like, he doesn't really care for her at all. Yeah. And then that's why one of the things I didn't like how Hugo in the movie, in the live action film, he like immediately from day one just falls in love with her like badly. I was like, what? No, that's not good.
He basically is the one who fell first. Then
exactly. Her, yeah. Like, and I'm telling you, in the anime, like Alita is she's obsessed with Hugo. So I mean, they do justice to in that sense.
That's good and weird to hear, but
one of the main scenes in the anime that they failed to recreate in the movie is when they kill the dog. That's one of the like most memorable scenes in the anime. It's known because of that, and you know when she paints like underneath her eyes.
Oh yeah,
with the
that's
blood.
the dog's blood.
That's
Yeah.
it's in every cover of the manga. It's in the cover of the anime. Like everyone knows because of that, and she kind of like she adopts the dog in the anime and it follows her everywhere. Like they become like very like an owner and a pet. It's not like one of those dogs that she sees from time to time. So she gets very attached to it, and the way he gets killed, it's very like savage, dude. It's like whoa, they did that to a dog, and in the movie they can't show you because it's a PG-13 movie, so you never get that
PG-13, and you can't kill a dog
right
in American cinema.
I mean, they killed him off screen, and you don't get to see how he gets destroyed into pieces like they do in the anime. And obviously seeing that in the anime, Alita just goes crazy. She's like, fuck, and then you can see her rage, and then she goes after what's his name? It's a weird name. Garlo.
The kingpin looking dude.
Yeah. So yeah, that scene is memorable in the anime. It's very impactful. I was like, holy shit, they just destroyed this poor dog to pieces. And in the movie, you kind of just forget about it, and she doesn't even react that much to it. So I think they failed at that. And another thing is like the very ending of this movie. It was so weird what they did with it. Like after Hugo falls and dies, and the character, the one that controls everyone.
Oh yeah,
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton's character, yeah.
Yeah, I forget his name. So he's
a lot of names in this.
He's
movie.
never mentioned in the anime. And they just kind of like try to make him a big thing in this movie, even to the point that I think they just do it to set up a sequel.
Yeah,
which was very disappointing.
Yeah, and I think basically this is my biggest disappointment. I probably should have articulated this before with the whole movie. Is that I don't think that this movie had a beginning, middle, and end. It was just like a whole bunch of movie. Without a real ending, and I don't even know with $200 million budget. Like, it's not like a huge hit, so we don't know if there's going to be a second movie. So they basically wait for that. I actually think that this movie would have been better as a TV show, where you could see the whole Alita grow from literally the little kid robot body that she had to the woman body. Right. And not just like, oh, I'm a bounty hunter now, and it's going to take 10 seconds to become a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
So it's just like throwing a bunch of plots together that I didn't like.
It's not like I disagree with you, because I think they could have done the movie that they wanted to make if they were just stuck to the anime and not try to put volumes of the manga in there. Because in the anime, they actually, when she becomes a warrior, they show you a lot of her hunting people. And so they build her to be this warrior. In this movie, they skipped completely over that. They never show you her, like, they never show her, like, hunting anybody, or, in the anime, it's like, oh, she's hunting, and she's making lots of money, too. She's, like, the top hunter, the top warrior at that point.
Yeah, and that was just, like, a breeze-through montage.
Yeah, and it was, like, so the battle angel part is completely out of this movie. There's not a lot of battle, like, like her being this the hunter warrior, that what they're called, I think. So that was very disappointing, because I wanted to see her like get built as a character, as a hunter warrior. So you'll see that she's like this badass. In the movie, they skip over so fast. They just wanted to make this badass chick by making the scene in the bar and kicking everyone's ass. It was dumb, because it was very rushed. It was like you got to build up to that. Yeah. Another thing that I was disappointed in, it was like the main character with not the main character, but the warrior with the pretty face. I forgot his name.
Yeah, with
the sword, right?
Yeah.
That guy is super cool in the anime, and in this movie he's such a dork. Like, he's such a he's like almost comedy relief, right? In a sense.
Yeah, like, but everything he did, lost that.
In the anime, this guy's like, you fear this guy. He's like it's very mysterious. He's cool looking. He almost looks like Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that would've been dope.
Dude, yeah, and then when I was watching the live action film, I was like, please don't let that guy be who I think it is. And unfortunately, it turned out to be the same guy. And I was extremely disappointed because, again, that's a really big scene when he kills Yugo in the anime. He kills Yugo, and I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things that they just decided to switch things that for no reason, because they, in my opinion, it's better when they did that in the anime than the way they decided to go with here in this movie. But yeah, I mean, still it was fun.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. I actually, before we go, I have one last question for you. Does the fact that Hugo, being a human, falling in love with Alita, does that make him robosexual?
I mean, if you want to get technical, by the end of the movie, he's half robot. Like, no,
he turns into a robot himself, so it's fine. But like throughout, it's like
how would they?
Her brain is human, I guess, but over 300
not
years
human. Old? The most human brain ever.
The most human.
Which turned out to not be true because she's a Martian.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about it, she's the least human person in that world because she turned out to be a Martian. Also, another thing I didn't know about, like in the anime, there's no such thing as them being Martians or anything like that.
So, from what I surmise, I think a lot of people on Earth went to Mars, and then they got into a big war.
Yeah, I mean that's something that I didn't see coming. Like I said, that's not part of the anime. It was new to me, and
maybe part of the mangas, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. And again, if you're a manga fan, I'm happy that you get to see that, brought to the screen. But for me, I would have just stuck to the anime and developed the characters a lot more, and it would have been a better movie in my opinion. But that's just me.
All right, so that's it.
Want to leave it at that?
Yeah, let's leave it at that.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoy the review. We're gonna try to do Captain Marvel next. We'll see. I don't want to promise anything, but
we'll be back.
We'll be back. So if people
the
want,
Pulp will return.
We'll be back. If people want to find you in the internets, where can they find you?
On Twitter at DEBanks. That's DEBANKS.
Nice. I'm also on Twitter as Parzival, Parzival, and then the letter X and the letter L. So Parzival XL. It'll be in the description below because it's easier to just look at that than spell it out.
Click the link, subscribe, like, and comment, and
all that good stuff.
All right, that's it.
That's it. Pulp out.
Out.